Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of our Explore the Summit Sit Down, where we're talking diversity and inclusion across our membership. And this week, we are focusing on what good things are happening at the University of North Dakota. We are joined by the Director of Student Athlete Development, Tyler Burmeister, a senior on the softball team, Katie Burstead, and a senior on the men's basketball team, Bentu Panome. Guys, the first thing I just kind of get things started with is hearing from you why diversity and inclusion is so important. And with that, we will get started with you, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Ryan. And yeah, diversity and inclusion is very important for us, especially here at the University of North Dakota, where we have student athletes coming from all across the world, 29 states, 16 different countries. So we have very unique perspectives, very unique voices that are coming to our campus, and it overall just adds to our not only our athletic department culture, but our own campus and community culture as well. So it's great to have all the different perspectives and all the different opportunities to learn from one another and really create a welcoming and inclusive environment for us here on campus.
Great, good stuff. How about you, Katie?
Diversity and inclusion is really important to me because I find it a little bit difficult sometimes when you're kind of dropped somewhere new and coming into a university. This is your home for 4 years, and I would really enjoy making it a more welcoming place for other student athletes who are coming in here, maybe from further away with different experiences and different perspectives. So it's just really important to me to be able to help my counterparts and create a more united dynamic within our little bubble as student athletes.
Perfect, great. How about you, Bentu?
Yeah, for me, it's very important to me because, like, for example, my high school is the second most diverse high school in the nation, and our rivals, East High School, is number one. So, like, I kind of grew up around it, and, like, that family culture and all that, what I had in high school, like, I love to see that here and just see it keep growing.
Good stuff. And for you, where was high school? Tell us a little bit about that.
Anchorage, Alaska. I went to Bartlett High School. Yeah.
Alaska, and now you're in North Dakota. Good stuff there. What I remember seeing from the summer just some social media posts from you, Bentu, that were powerful. You know, when all the social injustice was going on and the George Floyd murder happened. So just tell us about your summer. Tell us why those things are important to you, to kind of show that you have a voice and that was something that meant a lot to you.
Well, that was just kind of tough for everybody, honestly, seeing that George Floyd stuff happen, but watching, like, leaders from, like, the NBA post stuff, and then other college leaders, like, other schools step up and be a voice, just made us want to get out there and post something so, like, our voices could be heard too, because there's always somebody watching us, and that next person could also post something or get the word out and share.
Great. Tyler, I know that you're mentioned your title, Development of Student Athletes. Talk about some of the different things that you're doing there and that these two are involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we take a very heavy focus on making sure that our student athletes' platforms and voices and leadership are seen here on campus. And the two student athletes, obviously, that we have on the call have very active leadership roles within our athletic department. So Bentu is one of our Student Athlete Advisory Committee Executive Board members, and Katie's one of our Student Athletes for Inclusion and Diversity ambassadors, and she's in her second year of this organization. And that's been a huge focus of our athletic department and our campus community, is to really showcase and put forth these discussions on diversity, inclusion, and equity. And really those discussions started last year with our Student Athletes for Inclusion and Diversity group to really start to have an opportunities to educate ourselves, have dialogue, and start to seek out some of those collaborations, not only on our campus community, but also within the Grand Forks community as well. So we've worked very closely with our diversity inclusion office here on campus, a number of professors on campus as well that have sought out to give us some insight and continue to push forward with the dialogue and make sure that our student athletes have that educational opportunity to really, again, immerse themselves in these issues and obviously be able to utilize their platforms from the education opportunities that they get here.
Great. And Katie, you mentioned 2 years. I'm curious, from your perspective, the growth of that kind of organization, where you've seen it from its grassroots when you first got started to year two, and the momentum that's going with that.
It's been really amazing to see, because it did start out with a pretty small group of kids that we would meet and have hard conversations and some not so hard conversations, and really just see what we could do to make things better for the people around us. And it's just been really awesome to see. Now we have ambassadors from every sport that are involved in the meetings, and then we have other people coming in, bringing in their teammates, and it's just really been awesome to see the growth in the program, and we just really want to keep the momentum rolling.
For sure. What you talk about, each sport has an ambassador. What does an ambassador do? What's their role and what's their importance on campus?
For us, it's really about facilitating the conversations within our teams. So a lot of it has to do with, one, getting out there and inviting people to be a part of it, because like you come in as maybe a freshman and you don't necessarily know. So facilitating those conversations and trying to essentially get temperatures of our team when it comes to different issues or different things going on campus, and being able to bring that back to our group and share.
Bentu, I know Ethan is the ambassador for the men's basketball team, but curious conversations that your team has had with, some of these topics of social injustice and even a voice to vote and things like that. Like, what are the conversations getting easier? Do you feel the momentum is it bringing you guys closer together?
Yeah, I think the conversations are getting easier. Guys you would think would never talk are talking. And we've had a meeting or two where coaches, explaining stuff to us, talking to us, like making sure we're all comfortable. So I think that's going good.
And then Tyler mentioned that you're SAC executive board. What's your role with that? What are you trying to do to keep the momentum going there on campus?
Well, right now, my committee's name is Fighting Hawk Brand, and my role is to relay the information, get it out on social media, make sure I'm posting stuff, and just making sure all the athletes are like up to date on what's going on. And yeah, that's my role.
So for you, and I kind of asked Katie this, but you've been on campus now going on 3 years. What's your kind of measurement of the progress that's being made with these areas? And even from not only last year, but maybe even the summer going into the fall. I know COVID has had its own kind of effect on things, but just what have you seen the campus doing? What good things are happening there that you can kind of take some pride in?
Oh, I give a lot of credit to Tyler. I could tell that he really has some emotion with this stuff, and I've had a conversation or two with him where I could tell like, oh, this really matters to him. So like that's huge. I could see him pushing for the campus and stuff like that. But over my 3 years as a sophomore joining SAC, I didn't really know what it was. As a junior, I got a little bit more talkative, and as a senior in a role where I have to actually be doing stuff, I could see stuff changing. Like I could see what this is all about. Like it's just more than just being a representative. Like I have a job to do.
Gotcha. Katie, I know it's a lot of times with diversity and inclusion, race is kind of the topic that comes to the forefront, but what about including those other groups that are trying to find a voice and trying to be heard? What things is going on campus just beyond kind of the race?
Yeah, beyond race, we do a lot to try to include members of the LGBTQ community. So we've talked about doing some work with them as well. Like, can't remember the name of the organization, but there's an organization on campus that we've talked about doing some work with. I know my team personally has, during the diversity and inclusion campaign through the NCAA, we took on the role of labeling ourselves as allies and safe people to talk to throughout basically anything. For any student athlete, for any student, we wanted to showcase that we're safe to talk to. So that's kind of what we've been doing as a team.
Great stuff. Tyler, Bentu kind of mentioned it. You're passionate about this. Where did that passion come from? Like, where did it kind of capture you and capture your attention?
Yeah, I would say that specifically, again, like referencing back that we have a diverse group of student athletes, and obviously coming from all sorts of different areas, identities, it's important for us to make sure that we are recognizing all of our student athletes that are here on campus, and representation really does matter. And we try to put that at a forefront to make sure that all of our student athletes have opportunities to express themselves, have their voices be heard. And again, as Katie mentioned, we're really trying to keep a temperature check on how things are going, especially with all the things that are happening across the country and across the world. So we're staying up to date on current events. We're, again, making sure that our student athletes' voices are heard and they're continuing to have the leadership roles that they have. Our athletic department is fantastic when it comes to ensuring that the student athletes leadership and their ideas are coming to the forefront when it comes to legislation opportunities or just overall discussions on how we want to move forward as an athletic department. So it's really encouraging for us, and coming from a leadership development standpoint, it's me looking at this is the next group of leaders. It's a transformational leadership piece. It's a servant leadership piece. So we want to make sure that our student athletes have the tools to be that mechanism to continue to move these dialogues forward, to continue to seek out those collaboration opportunities, and always to continue to educate ourselves. So it's always encouraging for me, and that's really where my passion comes from, is that we want to create this next level and next generation of leaders. So that is for our opportunity to continue to make sure that diversity, inclusion, and equity are at the forefront, and that we continuously make a welcoming and inclusive environment for all of our student athletes, no matter where they're coming from or what their identities are.
That was incredible, and it sounds like that's what's taking place in Grand Forks. And I know that you're proud of the two guys that we have on the call here today. I know that they have, just from the things I've gathered from this conversation, you start, you want to be included, you want to find a role, and then it expands, and then now they're leaders, they're seniors, and they're going to pass this torch on to the underclassmen, the group alone. So you guys should be really proud of yourselves for what you're doing in Grand Forks, for what you're doing in collegiate athletics. This is important. It's important to show that you're not just student athletes, that that you're, like Katie mentioned, your allies, that you want to be heard, you want to be listened to, but you also want to do listening. You also want to have those conversations. You want to keep the momentum going. So as a guy that lived in Grand Forks for 10 years, really proud of what's going on at UND, and happy to see the progress and happy to see you guys doing well. I know COVID has kind of crippled things a little bit with sports and stuff, but basketball is right around the corner. So Bento, I know you're excited to get that going. We're excited to get that season going. And Katie, you'll have softball in the spring. Crossing our fingers, of course, but everything looks like we're trending that way. Really enjoyed the conversation. You guys are great. Enjoy the snow as it hits Sioux Falls. And I know it's coming to Grand Forks, but we endure it and enjoy that. And you guys have been awesome. Thanks.